And now, TSPN News with Tom Slivick. Comprehensive news because in today's world, you need more than just sound bites. TSPN, streaming on the World Wide Web, and now on demand at tspntv.com. Hi everyone, I'm Tom Slivick. Welcome to TSPN's News for today. We're in our News in Depth format. I have Gene Mancebo, the General Manager of the Amador Water Agency. How are you doing, Gene?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Good to see you once again, and you know, I call you to talk to you about let's, Alan, go ahead and put that, that little animation up there, and we're looking at the hydropower, or an animation that kind of describe it. Shows it a little bit.
It does.
Okay. Well, I want to tease people with this a little bit so they can find out a little bit more about that. So this is a main thing that we're going to be talking about. So, Alan, if you want to come on back, that's great. But Gene, I thought we'd hit on some. You can't live in Amador County. You can't live in California and not know that our water is really low. The water that we have stored up to be able to use through the coming year, coming summer, right, especially, or it's very low. We've seen pictures of Folsom that is, one of the old towns is popped up from the bottom, and people are going around collecting artifacts, and I imagine we our water is going to be like gold coming up this summer as well.
Absolutely. This is a very dry year, and all water agencies are concerned. We actually have reservoirs through working with PG&E, but we're monitoring it very closely as we go forward. Okay,
Gene, maybe I could ask you to speak up a little bit, just
sure,
a little bit more. Okay, and Alan could turn you down if you're too loud. I'm having a little trouble hearing you myself right now. Okay, but and no buts. That's a big thing. Of course, that's the major concern. You are the main water purveyor here in Amador County, the Amador Water Agency, so you must have that on the burner somewhere. Looking at that, Sacramento just announced emergency. I believe it was stage 3 is what they call that, or level 3, where it's getting to be like if you're going to wash your car, you have to use a bucket, no hose, and so.
Right, and we're going to watch it very closely. Right now, we are concerned. Our board is going to be reviewing this at the very beginning of February, monitoring the levels. We think we're in pretty good shape this year. Our real concern is what happens next fall and next year. I mean, that could be devastating. And so at this point, we are actually in pretty good shape with our reservoirs. Now, that's not the case everywhere in Amador County. Jackson Valley Irrigation District has some severe issues and concerns. Their reservoir is very low. So even in Amador County, we are, all of us are watching this very closely.
Okay, I'm just a little curious. It used to be like, it was kind of stated before, like, our water goes down in East Bay, and they use the water, I believe, that we don't use. So it's still a good idea to maybe conserve and let them have what water we're not using. I'm not trying to be political here or anything like that, but what goes through that river that we don't use, through the McCollum, I mean, it's flowing, right? It's not like it's going anywhere.
I mean, and that's correct. What we're not using currently does go down, although remember we do have reservoirs up high through agreements with PG&E, so we do have a supply that backs up what we're using today. My philosophy today is use what you need, but use it wisely. Let's not waste water. It's too precious to have anything going. And the political boundaries, I mean, that's not important to me. It's really, we want to make sure that we're fair and that we work well with our neighbors. So again, I ask people to use that water wisely.
Okay. Now, in using water wisely, a resource, another great resource that we have is money and funds, and only so much money that we have available to do whatever endeavor everybody wants to be able to pull off in budgets that they have to stay within, and things like that. And it seems to me the Amador Water Agency for several years now, the GSL, the big push was to save money, I believe, certainly make water more available, but at the same time to lower the electricity costs.
Right. Yeah, in the gravity supply line project, the idea is to flow by gravity instead of pumping. The cost of pumping, maintaining pumps, electricity just keeps going up. And so if we can have a gravity flow pipeline, we avoid those higher energy costs in the future. I mean, I think they're going to continue to go up. And I think with this drought, we're going to see, rates go up with all of the electrical companies, especially those that have hydropower. It's just, I think it's inevitable that we're going to see these costs continue to climb. And if we can have a way to flow in by gravity or without the use of electricity, we'll be far ahead as we go into the future.
Right. We know electricity costs are going up. SMUD yesterday released a statement, a news release that they didn't expect the rates to go up right away because they have some rainy day monies put away, and knowing that the rates can go up, so they have something in there to ease that out. But if we don't get some kind of a miracle rains coming in, those costs are probably going to go up later during the year as well for SMUD, and I imagine East Bay Mud and other PG&E as well is probably going to be following suit. They have to pass costs on.
Sure.
Okay, and that's a lot of what I believe the water agency has been trying to do. Now I'm probably putting words in your mouth here, but was to be able to keep the rates lower because nobody wants their rates up. That's pretty hard to get.
Everything we can do to avoid future rate increases, I mean, in my opinion, it's just making smart decisions for the future. Decisions that we can make now have long-lasting effects in the future, so anywhere we can do things to be more efficient and effective with our system keeps us from having to raise those rates in the future. So we're all about that. Any of the types of projects we can do, we're really looking carefully at those to keep our costs down and the rates down for the future.
Okay, and I've had you on before, and I've let the viewers know that don't know, maybe a lot of people don't know, but you were one of the engineers, probably the head engineer at the Amador Water Agency for a time before being the general manager. So you're an engineer, and I like talking to engineers because they know nuts and bolts, and it's easy to talk about hardware and things like that. And my mind kind of works like that, so I get a better understanding of how things work. So why don't we come back? When we come back, let's talk about the GSL and find out where it's at and how it's proceeding.
Sure.
And then we'll get into this hydropower idea that the water agency has, okay?
Absolutely.
All right, so stay with us. We're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we'll be talking with Gene Mancebo, General Manager of the Amador Water Agency. You're watching Amador County's #1 news and sports leader, TSPN. Hi everyone, and we're back, and I'm with Gene Mancebo, the General Manager of the Amador Water Agency. Gene used to be a former engineer.
Yes.
With the Water Agency, and I've been here for a long time, and I think you were with the agency way back. How long have you been with the agency?
Oh, gee. Well over 25 years, I think.
Well over 25 years. Okay, so you were a kid when you started out, huh?
Yep, I was actually fairly young. Had more hair, too.
Okay, I did too. All right, now anyway, let's talk about the GSL. GSL is a project. It's on its way now. We're no longer discussing it. How's it coming?
Well, the contractor is getting ready to perhaps doing some cutting down a few trees in an area that they do need to clear, but we really don't expect the bulk of the work to start until probably in the spring. That's when we'll be seeing a lot more of the work. Of course, if this weather keeps the way going, they might be able to start sooner than they thought.
Okay. Is that a consideration? They're taking that into effect and maybe moving the timetable up because of the nice but weather, but lack of water. That's one of the things that gets in the way, right?
Sure.
It's muddy, it's wet, hard to work in.
Right. I mean, when it starts, when we have mud and snow to work with, that it really slows down. It makes it difficult to do construction activities. And you've also have to keep that mud on site. You don't want it getting into the rivers and so forth. So you have to contain all of that, and that can get really expensive.
Okay.
So the contractor will weigh all that out before they really start going in and doing any excavating.
Okay. So how far are they along? Is it...
Really there's very little it's a lot of preparation getting ready for the spring, lining up materials, submittals, getting themselves ready to go to town as soon as the spring rolls around. That's been the game plan, but again, that timetable may change given the weather conditions.
Is this the same outfit that put in the canal, the pipe some of the canal?
No, this is a different company. This company is really kind of based out of Sonora and the Bay Area. So it's a different organization.
Okay, great. And so that's good. So GSL is moving along. How about another reason for the not for the GSL itself, but another part of that project was fire improvement for water in case of fires.
Right.
How is that coming along?
Well, I mean, that'll be part of the project. So as the project is constructed, there'll be some fire hydrants as we get closer to kind of the Highway 88 area and some of the subdivisions. There will be some strategically placed hydrants that will flow off of gravity, off a large reservoir, and they'll effectively, we call them fast fills, because the fire departments will be able to fill tankers or equipment at a fairly rapid rate without any impact really to the domestic water service.
Did you just go through and inspect the fire hydrants recently up country
Yes.
and to see how they were working?
Yeah, I mean, through a cooperative effort with the fire protection agencies, there's about 1,200 fire hydrants that have now been inspected to ensure that they're all in good working condition. From that, we identified some that needed work. We've been working on those. We've generated work orders, and we've also been working on a program to paint the fire hydrants so that they're more noticeable. And our board just recently put a committee in place, a special committee to focus just on fire protection. So we're really moving this up on our radar screen. We're going to start looking at pressures and flows on the hydrants and seeing what other improvements we can make, and try to continue this cooperative effort with fire department agencies to provide a better fire protection service for the community.
It seems I heard something about when the pressure improved there, that there's a possibility the hydrants won't work right. Maybe there's a siphoning situation there. I'm not sure if I'm speaking about it right, but do you know what I'm trying to talk about?
Well, in some areas, the pressures are not real good, and when you open up a hydrant, you can actually take out too much water out of the area that can cause problems. Back siphonage is what it's sometimes called. The water may be pulled from an area, pressures may go very low. And we're actually working on a grant application right now to make some improvements in the Pioneer area for those areas where that does occur. Hopefully, if we're successful getting grant funds, we'll make improvements. This is all part of that improving fire protection for the community.
Okay, so you're well underway in the upcountry, improving the area there. Now, I think we'll take a break, then we'll come back and we'll talk about another cost-saving measure that the Water Agency is trying to accomplish or to put in, project on your drawing board. So stay with us. We'll be back right after this break.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.